If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always tuning into my channel. So, on today's video, we will be talking about debts. So, when we talk about debt, it's just simply money that one party borrows from another party, right? So, somebody has to be the borrower and somebody has to be the lender. So, this money is typically an money that is borrowed typically has an agreement of the borrower being able to repay it back to the lender over a period of time, and most of the times borrowing money comes with interest. So most people, or even if it's a financial institution, borrows you money, but you have to pay interest, and that's because that's the only way they make gain or make profit from borrowing you the money. And some reasons why, a lot of reasons why people borrow money, it boils down to financial obligations, right? Something might come up, maybe you might have an emergency and you don't have the money at that moment to actually go ahead and solve it. Then you end up turning to the bank or to somebody or to just a lender to borrow you this money. And most of the time, it will come with you paying them back and paying them interest at a later date. And just keep in mind that debt is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be used, it can be a good thing as long as you use it well. So it can be used as a financial tool when you use it wisely. You can use debt to start a business, because debt is necessarily, like I said, borrowing. So you can borrow money to actually start a business. You can borrow money to expand a business. If you already have one, you can equally just borrow money to buy a house, which turns out to be your mortgage, especially where we are in the US. You can have a mortgage, which is just simply means you borrowed money from the bank to buy your house, and now you have to pay the bank back with interest. Okay, so you really don't have to be scared or say no, I can never borrow if you in a situation where you really need the money and you don't have the funds. Okay, however, debt can be harmful. It can be harmful to you if you misuse it or you use it irresponsibly. So I'm gonna talk about some of this later, but so let's just talk about when debt can become a good thing, or when can debt become good. All right. So the number one thing for debt to be good is investing in the future. And when we talk about investing in the future, it simply means that you borrow money to purchase or spend on something that is going to bring you back revenue in the future. Let's just say you borrow money to go to school, right? When you borrow money to go to school, in your mind, you're believing that when I finish or when I get this degree, I'm gonna be having higher money, I'm gonna earn more. So if you're borrowing money to go to school, knowing that if I finish this school or if I finish this professional education, I'll be able to earn more money, then it's a good thing, because of course you're gonna have more money coming in than where you are at the current moment. You can equally borrow money to buy a house, just like I said, mortgage. So when you go to the bank and get a mortgage, you're borrowing money to buy a house, and once this house start increasing in value in the future, it's a good thing for you, because even if in the future you decide I no longer want a house, I just want to sell it, you can still make money. So you're gonna have profits at the end of it, or you're gonna have higher money than what you spent or than the money you currently borrowed. So yeah, you can borrow money to invest in the future. The second thing is building credit. For people that don't have credit, you can start by borrowing money from the bank. All this credit card just simply means borrowing money. So you can go borrow money from the bank, and it doesn't matter the amount, as long as they are able to approve you of that amount you're seeking. Yeah, why not? You can borrow it to build your credit. You can start there if you've never had credit before, okay? Or maybe you're looking for how to increase your credit or somehow, but you can start somewhere as going to get a credit card, and then make sure you do the payments, you don't miss payments, you pay on time, and use it wisely. As long as that is done correctly, that's one way for you to be able to build your credit. So the third thing is going to be you starting or growing your own business. Like I just mentioned, people might have business ideas but they don't have the funds to start that business. Doesn't mean that your idea has to be killed. No, you don't have to kill your business idea just because you don't have the money. You can go out there, seek out loans. You can go to the bank, or you can go to lender, or you can even go to individuals. There are some individuals that can make those things happen, right? They can borrow. So rather than you sitting having a business idea and thinking, oh, I'm just gonna let it die, don't do that. Go out there, borrow, and know that if I borrow this money, I can build this business, pay back, and then continue, because of course you will have profit if you manage it well. So if profit comes, of course the more money you borrowed, you paid it back, and whatever is left is now gonna be your own money, and you can use it to run that business. Or even if you already had a business, you can equally borrow to expand the business and make greater profits. The fourth thing is gonna be in emergency situation, okay? When debt can be good. Remember, that's what we're talking about. So it can be in an emergency situation. A lot of time, some things happen. Maybe you had an accident and you didn't plan for that, and you have to repair your car. Maybe you have to go out there, take out personal loans, or even if you're not taking out personal loan, you might have to use your credit card to pay for that repair. Or even if it's just somebody is getting sick, right? When those bills come and you cannot afford it, maybe you can turn to pay it back. So yeah, you can take personal loans in emergency situations. You just depend on what the situation is, and if you don't have the money, you don't have to die, right? You don't have to die because you don't have money. You can go out there and make personal loans, or even use credit to get these things sorted out. And then if you're fine, of course, or even if you're not fine, at least you can solve the situation at that moment, and then figure out how to make the payments later. And when we talk about maybe like the car repair I just mentioned, you can repair your car, and then you don't have to be paying for Uber. You don't have to be waiting on somebody to drop you off, and you can continue living your life, or using that car to go to work and other day-to-day activities. So that's all about when debt can be good. So let's talk about when can debt become a bad thing. Debt can become a bad thing if you borrow money to live beyond your means. Some people can borrow money just to live beyond their means. Borrow money to buy luxury stuff, buy high-end goods, and these are goods that don't bring you anything apart from satisfaction, okay? And sometimes this satisfaction is just as now, because the next time you see it, you don't even want that item, you know? So if you want to go out there to borrow money just to make sure you have this luxury stuff around you, seeing it, I mean, I don't know, but just keep in mind that whatever money you borrow, you're gonna pay back. So if you go borrow money and buy stuff that are not worth it, liability stuff, then know that you're gonna be paying back, but it's gonna be a little painful. Or if you don't even end up paying back, then it's gonna hurt you in so many different ways. The second way in which debt can become bad is high interest debts. You know, there's some debts that are hard to deal with, like you go like this, what we call payday loans. Payday loan simply means you go out there, take out a loan that you have to pay back on your next paycheck. So if you take out this loan, and these loans they normally have high interest, okay? They normally have high interest. Imagine you borrowing that you have to pay back in 2 weeks or 1 week with the interest so high. I mean, it gets some people annoyed, right? It might get you upset. So rather than going out there to take these payday loans, I mean, if you have other options, you might want to look into other options than going out there to take these payday loans, because yeah, their interests are not that fun. So just have to think twice before you make those moves and those steps. The third one is going to be unmanageable repayments. When you borrow simply means I'm taking it, I'll pay you back in a later day. So if you borrow money and you don't manage the payments, you don't repay them back, you don't make this payment on time, then there will definitely be a problem, because you now have to deal with the consequences. Might be, take for example credit cards. If you don't pay your minimum dues on the day it's supposed to be paid, you end up having to pay a late fee. And these late fees, I don't know, it depends on the bank, but these late fees, even if it's $1, it's money, right? You don't want to pay extra, even if it's 1 cent extra on top of what you were supposed to pay. So just make sure you keep account of the credit cards you're using or any borrowed money, so you don't have to pay for late fee. All right. And the last one is what they call the debt cycle. And the debt cycle just simply means you borrow money to pay what money that you had already borrowed. So let's take for instance, you borrowed the money on a credit card. You went to the bank, borrowed money, to give you a credit card, and you are unable to pay back that credit card. And then you go to a different bank and borrow money and do what is called a cash advance. So you take this cash advance just so you could pay the other credit card. Of course, you pay that, but you still now have another credit card to pay back. So the cycle continues if you have to keep doing that all the time. All right. So that's what is called a debt cycle. So you keep borrowing money to pay off the old debt that you already borrowed. So you see, you just have to figure out how to break out the cycle. So instead of doing that, maybe you just have to work harder or make some money off a side hustle, or sell some stuff so you can have money to pay off these debts, rather than borrowing money from somewhere else to be paying, because you keep paying, and sometimes the other money you're borrowing might have a high interest more than what you already had. So you see, you have to keep borrowing, and it's not the best way to live. And those are just some ways in which debt can become bad. And this brings us to the end of this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Don't forget to like this video, share it to your friends, relatives, people that you meet online, and don't forget to leave comments. As always, my videos are for educational purposes only. Please go out there and read books out there. I'm sure there are so many wonderful books out there that can teach you about debt, so you can know what debt is, if you really need to borrow, if you don't need to borrow, what situations you find yourselves in. There are so many good books out there, and don't forget to equally do your research. As always, stay safe and healthy. Until next time, thank you.